We're just okay and we play some
Movies.
games. We're just okay.
Movie watchers.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Just Okay Movies. I'm your host, BIGGIESIZE, and I'm joined by...
Gweedo, hi.
Hey, Gweedo. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Dude, I am exhausted. Like,
Why?
I've just been working like a dog, trying to make that paper, and getting no respect.
Yeah, people don't know that you're actually a coal miner.
That's right. I do. I work in the mines, I breathe in that soot, getting that, what they call the black lung.
Mm-hmm.
But you just gotta love what you do.
Yeah, you're getting blacked.
Oh, totally blacked. Dude, at con, I felt so like when you like raise your pants up to show how tan your legs are, like I felt self-conscious.
Why?
Like, how like pale white I am.
No, it's ridiculous. I mean, then you don't, at least when you're pale white, you don't have weird ass tan lines all over the place.
I guess that is part of it, but you are ready for the beach though. Just keep your shoes on.
Yeah, I gotta keep my shoes on. I gotta wear a short sleeve t-shirt. And I have to have shorts that stop right at the knees.
Well, man, have you watched anything lately?
Oh boy. Trying to think of what I have watched. I did watch something. What the fuck was it? Tag. I watched Tag.
Oh, how is that?
It's not great.
Oh, bummer.
It's kind of why
I love the premise.
Yeah, there was a lot of publicity behind it. Like, I feel like I saw the trailer a few times and even like billboards, Twitch ads and shit like that. And then you just never heard of it again. And it popped into my head like, wait, I kind of want something to watch. And I checked like Blu-ray releases. Like, that's usually what I do. See what came out, and Tag came out a week or two ago. And it's like, I'll download this. I'll pirate the fuck out of this. And yeah, I understand why it just kind of came and went, because it's a totally forgettable movie.
Damn, that is so disappointing to hear. Because I was interested in watching that one as well. Who was the main well-known actor in that one? I can't remember. I can see their face, but I can't like quite narrow down who it is.
There was a handful of them. So it was Jeremy Renner,
right,
who's Hawkeye, John Hamm,
right.
Blanking on names. Jack Johnson.
Oh, really? The singer Jack Johnson?
Well, maybe his name isn't Jack Johnson. Now you got me thinking. He's in New Girl.
Oh, New Girl? Yes. Is it the boyfriend of the New Girl?
I think they were boyfriend and girlfriend at one point.
The whitest looking guy who could look homeless, kind of, but in a sexy way. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hannibal Buress, isn't it?
Oh, really?
And then Ed Helms from Hangover fame.
Right. National Lampoon's Vacation remake.
Sure. That was a movie too. that
was best described as a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
But it was just kind of like, they were the jokes. I can't imagine people sitting down and laughing at the jokes that were in the movie. And it was a comedy, but it was like Jeremy Renner's, they play tag, and they have since they were kids. There's once a year for a whole month, they play tag, no matter where they are. That's the premise of the movie. And there's one of the guys, Jeremy Renner, who's never been tagged before. So Ed Helms is going to get to the other guys. He's the one who was it last time, I guess. He goes and tags someone. And he wants them to all group up to finally tag him, because Jeremy Renner is apparently going to quit the game. He's done. So they want to tag him before he's out. And that's the premise of the movie.
And that's such a great premise. Like that just, you explain it, just puts a big smile on my face. It just sounds like so much fun.
It's based on true events.
Is it really?
Yeah, I saw a little documentary on the guys that actually did play this. And they do the stuff that's in the movie. Like they trick each other, they dress up as an old lady and kind of walk down the street and finally like jump the dude and tag him. And so it's going off of real life material, which is interesting. But at the same time, it's just like, it's stupid. It's just not a funny movie.
So, like,
And-
what's the level of jokes? Like, is it like the Lampoon film level of jokes, like low hanging fruit, or are they kind of in the middle? Like, how bad?
Yeah, it was just like, it wasn't slapsticky. Well, it kind of was. There's a point where Ed Helms is chasing Jack Johnson, the singer, through a house, and you know it's a lot of pratfalls and visual gags. Like he picks up a little Asian kid and throws it at him. And the whole time he's smoking dope. So every time he takes a puff, the camera does this like, you know, boo, you know, zoom in on his face. Like he's wearing one of those GoPros that cover his face.
Right.
And then there's like weird action scenes where Jeremy Renner is like dodging their tags and he like slides on his knees and goes like avoids a tag, then slides on his knees because they're all in the same room trying to tag him. It's all in slow-mo. And he like speed bags Ed Helms' butt.
Is it slow motion speed
Yeah,
bagging?
well,
it,
no, it's slow motion up to the slide, and then it cuts to real time. It's like,
oh my Lord, dude, you're selling me on this film right now. I think I might still watch it.
Speed bag. But yeah, there's lots of like the whole kind of thing. The shtick of the movie is the guys don't know what's real and what isn't because they're always trying to, you know, fuck with each other to get that tag. So there's a lot of like, there's this moment in the movie where they're like, no, it's real. I have this problem that's happening. And then they're all like, I don't believe you because you're just faking it to get the tag. And that's like that's the problem of the movie. You know, what is it called? When the conflict. It's the conflict.
Gotcha.
It's like and then it goes to another level, and they're like, you did the bad thing. Like you shouldn't ever take it to that level to play tag. And then they're like, no, it's just a game. We play tag. I'm gonna speed bag your butt. So it was just like a throwaway movie. Nothing really good about it. Completely forgettable. And it's a shame because it's got a good cast of, kind of comedic actors.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Like none of them are like too like ha funny, like you would imagine like an Adam Sandler film like this. You know, they're kind of could be somewhat straight edge to that kind of, but be funny because they're taking things seriously, and that just sounds like a perfect cast for it. And that's a bummer that it was disappointing. But just for the speed bagging and Ed Helms' butt, I might have to. And throw in an Asian kid. That sold me a little bit too. That's great. I like that.
Give it a shot. It might be up your alley.
I'll definitely check it out. Well, I watched half of an incredibly forgettable movie, and that's Justice League.
Ooh, yikes.
God. And I heard the first half was the best half. And I couldn't believe when I heard that. Yeah, at least that's what I've heard from a couple of friends. I was like, I finally watched Justice League, and I only got halfway through it, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And they're like, but that's the best half. I'm like, oh, Jesus, are you serious? And I'm going to power through. I'm probably going to lay down again Friday night after a couple drinks and be like, all right, let's do this. And just power through the last half. But man, oh man, it was worse than I thought it would be. I already heard it wasn't great. But it was so stinking boring. and
There's
made
a
no
point.
sense.
There's a point in that movie I'll never forget, because they're in like someone's hideout, cyborgs or something, I don't know, and they're talking about the mother box, and they say mother box like 10 times in a row. They're like, we should really go find that mother box. I'm like, well, but the mother box has so much power. I'm like, one, they're saying it unironically, which kind of makes it funny.
Right.
But it's also just all these adults like very seriously saying mother box, which I, in my brain, interpret as like a mother's vagina.
Oh
Dude,
man, you're right. You're right.
I
That's a
just hear
terrible
mother box
name.
over and over, and I'm like, ugh. But they keep going on it, and you're sitting there waiting for them to stop talking about this. Go do some fucking superhero shit. But they don't, and my eyes rolled. They rolled into the back of my head and then out of the back of my skull, and then they kept rolling down the street to the bar and had like a shot of tequila, and then they kind of rolled back very drunkenly back into my head, and then the movie was over.
That's a great way of explaining it. Well, here's the thing, like the movie, it feels like the very beginning is just like sucking its own dick, being like, this is the biggest deal in the whole wide world, and you should be completely invested with this weird CGI demon looking thing coming out of nowhere. And I like, I don't know who the hell this guy is, and I don't particularly care because I don't think anyone else even wants to be in this movie. Like everyone just looks so bored. And honestly, with what they had to work with, I would probably be bored as well trying to make this movie. And I think the only part I really liked, and so I've only seen half, so I guess next episode I'll report on the second half of Justice League. And I like the beginning where the little kids are like filming Superman and asking him weird questions. I was like, that's kind of cute. I like that. And that's about the only enjoyment I got through half of the film. I really kind of want to see more of that. Like, it's kind of neat.
Has Superman come back yet?
No.
Oh, so
No,
you haven't witnessed the abortion that is his CGI'd mustache?
I am very excited. I guess that's the next part I'm excited about, is to see how bad it is. Because, pictures and everything, it looks pretty awful, but I haven't seen it in motion. And I am interested to see that part. And I kind of want to see the ending scene and see how the fights and everything go out. But honestly, I just want to see the spectacle. I don't have any investment in the story so far. And I'm just kind of disappointed by that. It sucks when you go into a film and it's going to be bad, but you're hoping you get something from it. And it just ends up being worse than what you thought. And that's just a big old bummer. But speaking of, I guess I wouldn't call this a bummer. It's just more something that's interesting. Did you hear that Disney has submitted Black Panther for all Academy Award awards and for nomination? Have you heard that?
No, I haven't.
I did not phrase that very well. I'm sorry. I was trying to make a good transition, but it did not work. Yes, just came out like a day or two ago that Disney submitted Black Panther for all categories for nomination, including Best Picture. And I find that interesting for a couple of reasons. And everyone, I think, knows my feelings of Black Panther. I thought it was a turd on the scale of Marvel films. As a film, outside of that, it's fine. But inside of the Marvel universe, I did not like it compared to others. But in either case, I think it's interesting, mainly because that news has been on like every movie site that I go to see what's going on. But I'm sure this happens a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if Disney, sends nomination letters and stuff for every movie they make. So it's like, why is this one getting special treatment and actually being reported on? And I don't know. I think maybe it's just, well, part of me thinks that it's because there's been the big stigma of black actors and stuff not getting recognition in the Academy Awards. Sure. And maybe they're wanting to really push Black Panther as being not only maybe at this point, other than Infinity War being one of the most popular Marvel action films, but also being one that represents African Americans the most and their culture and everything. And that's cool. I like that. I think that's a great reason. I'm just surprised, I guess. I guess it's just more of that personal feeling I have towards the film that I wanted it to be so much more than it was. And, you know, I could definitely see Infinity War being there. I don't think it would win, and maybe it wouldn't really deserve the win. There's other films that are probably more artistically made that really deserve that award for being very maybe edgy or experimental, where Infinity War not really, but it's just a really good solid film. But I just found that very interesting. Now, all of them that they probably submit for nomination, that Black Panther's gotten the most coverage.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you feel about it?
It's definitely, I don't see it as an award winner. They can submit it all they want. One, that the Academy has to accept it and then put it up for nomination and then win it, which I think is a very far cry. But in this day and age where people, I don't want to, like, the Academy makes some weird decisions regarding people of color and minorities. What that, you know, whether they I think that their intentions are well in, I'm really trying to tiptoe around what I say here. I don't think they don't pick, I think that they factor in that there are African Americans or any other race in a movie more than the actual technical aspects of said movies.
Sure.
At some points. That's my position on it. And I think that there's good, it offers good outcomes, but it also offers bad outcomes. One, in the sense that it's taking a spot of a movie that could be better than it, and that probably might be better than any other movie, you know? And just for the chance to get African Americans nominations, or put an African American movie, or that was widely regarded as favorite with the African American audience, in the top, to get views, to garner views of the majority white audience of the Oscars. I think it's a play to get people to watch the show. You know, it's an untapped audience for the Oscars, Black people.
Right. Agreed. I definitely, I don't know if anyone could argue with that. That's totally true. And hell,
but
even with some white people now.
Yeah. At the same time, it's good. Like, you know, they're getting an opportunity that they probably wouldn't have gotten before. And they're playing superheroes, and it's cool. And people, like, kids are looking up to them. They have like superhero role models that aren't Captain America, Tony Stark, or Thor. And it's cool that they get recognition for that on such a big stage that is the Academy Awards. But the Academy, it's falling down this hole that's turning into a Teen Choice Awards movie fucking award ceremony.
Right.
Where they're picking the popular stuff and they're appealing to the audience, but that's what they have to do to make money. That's what they have to do to sell advertisements for their long ass fucking show.
Right. And it kind of brings up the question. I mean, first and foremost, I don't put a lot of stock in Academy Awards. It's fun to watch. I like to see a good film win, but I don't think anyone should get too invested if a film gets snubbed or if a film just doesn't get picked, even if it could have been a technically better film. It's an industry award ceremony. It's by no means the world will look at this one film and rate it as being the best film of all time for that year. It's an industry award ceremony, no different than any other industry award ceremony out there. It's just the one, as you said, it's the most televised and probably the most profitable because of advertising dollars. And that kind of, it brings in those weird choices. And Black Panther's fine. I think it was an okay film, but I look at a film like Moonlight. If they're like, okay, we want to really put a film in that is powerful, that tells a daring story that's original, but kind of tugs at your heartstrings, or maybe you can even identify with, as the winner, the film that really broke the mold. I guess that's probably the best way of saying it. Moonlight's definitely up there. It's a solid film. I personally didn't care for it, but it was a really good film that told a really neat story, and was genuinely, I don't know if you would say upsetting, but it really moved you at parts, for good or worse. And I think that's a sign of an excellently made movie, even if you don't necessarily care for it. Now, comparing Moonlight to Black Panther, I just can't. I mean, Black Panther had a good cast. The main character maybe a hair boring and uninteresting, but he was still a solid actor who a lot of people really enjoy that character. And even Black Panther as a character, I like. I just wish they used him a little bit better in the movie. But I can't compare a movie like Moonlight to Black Panther and say they're on the same level. They're just not.
It's totally different movie-going experiences.
Right. But if it wins, hey, great. I'm happy it's done well. I love that people love the character. I just find it interesting that it's gotten that publicity that it could be a contender, when I just don't know if it deserves it. I want to see Infinity War is the only Marvel film I could see really deserving that crown. And even then, I don't know if I would give it to it. Not with films like some interesting films that are really considered to be nominations now, like the Black Klansman film that looks real interesting, and some of those other ones that really tried to push the mold, where Infinity War, although really good, it's just a box office juggernaut. And I don't know if that's really a good reason to say it's the best film ever.
But that's why they got that popular movie category,
Exactly. Is that happening this year? I heard they were trying to workshop it. They weren't too happy with the reception it got, which makes sense. It was a little vague.
Right.
So I'm interested to see if it'll be this year.
Yeah.
But anyways, go ahead.
Oscar season is upon us, where all the Oscar bait movies come out. And it's an exciting time. They haven't even scratched the surface. There's going to be a lot of movies coming out that are going to be pretty highly regarded in the coming months. And is there any that you're excited about, that of offhand, that you saw the preview and you're like, oh, this is probably going to go up for an Oscar nom?
Not really at the moment. Of course, I guess I haven't been keeping up with quite as much as I used to. I need to. The Black Klansman film is probably the one I'm wanting to see, just because it's visually interesting. The story is very interesting, and I'm really interested in seeing that film. Other than that, not really. One that's definitely not going to be considered for an Oscar. If it does, I'll be pumped. But that new Nicolas Cage film, Molly. I think it's
I'm excited to see that.
I am so pumped to see that. It looks like we're finally getting. Yes, that is a theater film. See crazy off his ass Nicolas Cage. At least that's what I'm hoping it's going to be. The previews and everything make it seem like that. But any Oscar-esque films you're kind of looking towards?
The only one that popped into my mind. Well, actually, there's two. There's one. Jonah Hill is directing, and he directed and wrote a movie. And it's called The 90s, I think. And I saw the preview the other day, and I was like, holy shit, this looks very good for a first-time director. But it's about a kid who joins up with, he lives in L.A., and it takes place in the 90s, and he kind of has a hard life, and he joins up with like a skateboard crew, and they just live their lives. It looks like a more wholesome, like a coming-of-age kind of movie, but shot kind of grittily because they're all poor, but they all skateboard and they steal and stuff, but they're all kids. It looks like it's going to be pretty good. And then the other one that pops into my head only because he's one of my favorite current directors. Is Damien Chazelle has made a movie called First Man. It's with Ryan Gosling about Neil Armstrong.
Right. Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, and Damien Chazelle he made two of my favorite movies in the past few years, which is La La Land and Whiplash. So this looks like it's shot the same. It looks beautifully shot. He's got such an eye for that stuff. The only downside is it wasn't written by him, which those other two movies were written by him. So I'm kind of going into it like, is this just him getting kind of a payday? Like someone handed him a script and said, hey, you're really hot right now. Can you make this movie about Neil Armstrong as Oscar bait? It's a biopic. So, you know, I'm on the fence about it, but from the previews, it looks pretty goddamn good. I don't know. I like space.
Yeah, definitely. I saw just a couple of those behind the scene videos that I forgot what channel it was on, and it did look solid. You know, I love the poster, especially. I think that's part of the part that kind of got me interested, was seeing the poster. It's close up on his face with the helmet on, the reflection on the helmet. It just looks great. I'm like, okay, this could be a film I could get behind. But very nice, very good. Well, how about we go into our topic? It's a relatively small topic, but it's one I found to be very very interesting to talk about. And that is some of our favorite documentary films. And you know, there's a bunch out there. You know, you've got classics, you know, fairly newish classics like The March of Penguins. That's a fun one. You've got some other ones that are interesting. I guess I'm just thinking of animal ones. The one about SeaWorld. I just like animal documentary films. But there's tons out there, and I think it's a great subject to discuss. Gweedo, do you have one in particular that kind of tugs at you a little?
Oh boy, I have a few, but the one that stuck with me the most, and when people often ask me for a recommendation for a documentary, I'll point them to a movie called Tickled. And have you heard about this?
I have not.
Okay, it's fucked up, dude.
Oh, I can't wait. Lay it on me.
So there's this documentarian. He set out to make he's gonna make like a YouTube video, like a 20-minute short doc, because he was stumbling across the internet and he found these tickle videos where young men would be strapped down, and then another young man would come and tickle them. They generally sometimes have their shirts off and whatnot. And he saw these videos. He's a gay man himself. And he was like, oh, this is weird, but it's interesting. I kind of want to talk to these guys, like just do a short little doc on what prompted them to do a fucking tickle video. So he starts digging into it and trying to contact some of the actors in it, trying to contact some of the production companies that were involved with making these little tickle videos. And he gets these emails from the head of whatever it is. It's like some lady name, I forget. Anyways, he gets emails from the lady that runs these tickle videos, and it's like, don't look into this. You need to stop right now. Oh. Yeah. And at that point, he's like, well, fuck, I got something here.
Yeah.
So he digs deeper and deeper, and she's like sending him these emails like, if you continue, we're gonna expose you as a gay faggot in front of all your peers. They're never gonna read any of your articles ever again, and just attacking him. And he digs down and finds out there's this tickle empire, this underground tickle ring, where people like young men are paid to be in these tickle videos. And then sometimes they won't get paid, or sometimes they're just like, hey, I regret what I did. I can't be in this, or can you like wipe my name from the credits? And then the lady threatens them and says, no, we're going to tell your teachers, we're going to tell your family that you were in this Tickle video if you don't shut up. And just like all this horrible, just treats all these young men very poorly. But then there's other guys that are way into it. Like, yeah, I was in that Tickle video. That was great. I got $500. I'll do it again. I'll do a Tickle video right now. You want to do a Tickle video? And
Wow.
he keeps digging deeper and deeper, and he actually goes to one of the filmings. Like that, he finds out that they're filming that day and brings his film crew to it. And it's a super tense scene where he's trying to get into the it sounds fake. All this sounds fake. But it's all real. And he's trying to get into the set. He's just like, hey, I want to talk to you guys about these Tickle videos. And they're like 3 thugs come out and they're like, get off the premises. And they're like pushing him and shit. And he finds out that, I don't want to spoil it because there's like twists in this fucking documentary. But one of the big twists is the lady that runs these things isn't who she says she is. And he digs deeper and deeper, and it's so fucked up and weird, but you're enraptured the whole time. You just want to watch more and more about as he goes deeper into this underground tickle ring.
Holy
It's fascinating.
crap. That is very fascinating. Wow. When was this made?
I think it came out in like 2014, 2015. It's fairly recent. The guy he's not, you could tell that he just wanted to practice something or just make like a short thing. And then he extended it because he had so much material. He's flying all over and he doesn't have a budget or anything because it's pretty unpolished for a documentary. But at the same time, that's what makes it also so endearing is that you're along on this journey with this guy and he's waiting outside people's hotels to talk to him. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Watch it. It's weird.
Man, I'm going to have to check that out. That sounds incredible. So is it like erotic tickling or is it just
That's
straight
the
up they're
thing.
just
It's
tickling
not.
him?
It's not, there's no like dick sucking or anything. It's just tickles. It's just tickles, bro.
just some tickles, bro.
It's just fucking tickles,
man.
bro.
That is incredible. I am definitely going to watch that. That is so fascinating. Well, I should have went first because mine's not nearly that good. What I really enjoyed is it's called Going Clear. It was an HBO documentary about the Church of Scientology. And always found that fascinating. I think, anyone would find the Church of Scientology fascinating because it's so kind of secretive. It's you hear about them, but they're not in the, I guess you would say, in the public eye all the time, like Christianity or Islam or anything like that. They kind of sit back, but they definitely have their hands in a lot of areas that's pretty interesting to find out about. Now, I will say, first and foremost, I don't care what anyone believes in. If you're a Scientologist, go for it. Great Christian, go for it. I will warn you, the documentary is slanted definitely against Scientology, mainly because it's talking about the people who were high up in the church and who broke away and them telling their stories about what the church did, how they practiced, some of the stuff they'd like to put under the rug. And I don't know, you kind of have to take it on their word and what proof they have, whether if it's true or not. That's kind of for the viewer to decide. But it is fascinating. Even just the parts of just talking about the history on how it came about was very neat. Talking about L. Ron Hubbard being a writer, didn't necessarily do so hot as a writer. Then when he wrote the, I forgot the book, kind of their, I don't know if you want to call it their Bible, but his theory about how people work and how the universe works. The name of that book will hit me here in a moment. And how that book was received and not very well by the intellectuals, saying it was complete gibberish. But still people use it as a means to better themselves, and it's fascinating. I found it to be very interesting, and also some of the stories. If you're wanting to hear about people who, broke away from the church and how they were allegedly harassed, how they would have to rise up in the ranks, and what they would have to learn and pay. And it's interesting. If you're wanting to learn more about it, still, it's a negative slant. So go into it kind of understanding that. And,
Scientology it's one of those weird things, or it's the same. It's on its surface, it seems so, it's almost innocent, where
Yes.
you're like, oh, what? They believe in like fucking aliens and like getting tested about their emotions and shit like that, or whatever it is. But then as you like scratch the surface and start digging deeper, you uncover all this weird ass, like nefarious shit that is alleged to go on. And it makes it a fascinating, it's why people call it a cult. And anything that involves cults, you don't understand, because you're not in that mindset. You don't understand how people can get into that position.
Of course.
So you're trying to answer your own questions while you're watching this documentary about it. It's pretty
Absolutely. Neat. It is. It's very neat. And even just looking at Hubbard himself, he was definitely a colorful guy, and it's very neat to hear. And that's one thing I did a good job about, was having people interviewed that were Scientologists and people who were ex-Scientologists talking about Hubbard and how they felt about him. And it was really neat when they discussed the ship he had, that they would like go around the seas and do stuff. I don't really know what they did, but hearing the people who are part of his crew talk about him just going up to him and just talking about the planets, and there's a fleet of ships next to Exxon 7C, and they're gonna go around to Keon 5 and do this, and they're like, oh my lord, that's so exciting. It's like, wow, that's interesting. Like, of course, he was I think I said it before, a science fiction writer, and it's just an interesting look at a different way of thinking. And just like any religion is, it's not just Scientology, it's any religion. You're going to a different way of thinking, and stuff like that makes it very fascinating. I agree. The machines that they would use, that they kind of created in-house to be able to read your emotions, and apparently they would note everything you say, because that's also one thing they talked about with people like Tom Cruise and Travolta. Why they haven't left is, at least the theory is, they've shared so much with the church that they have this information on them, and it could be used as blackmail. Now that's allegedly. And but you come up with your own opinion on that, but it's fascinating. And how like they would spend money for Tom Cruise, like get these like houses and stuff for his birthday to kind of keep him happy, especially during the height of his career. Same thing they did with Travolta, allegedly. And it's a whole different world, and it is fascinating to hear about these high ranking people leaving and what they have to say, whether if it's true or not. And it's one I definitely recommend if you have an HBO subscription. Hell, I would go and do it a free trial just to go and watch it. Just watch it and come up with your own opinion on it.
There you go.
You might learn something.
I think that Tickle documentary is on HBO also.
Is it really? Maybe that's why it sounds so familiar. I go through the list of movies all the time. There's so much I can't pick one. But I thought that name sounded very familiar. But there's all kinds of cool documentaries on there. Of course, another one, if I had to pick one I watched, I guess a year or two ago, was How to Make a Murderer. It's not necessarily a film. It's more like a bunch of series of shows, or I guess it's all kind of one film. Watch it if you like. Yeah, thank you. That's definitely a really good one. And I do like March of the Penguins a lot. It's a cute little, like when the little egg falls off the penguin's feet, it's like, oh my lord, dude, that hurt. I felt like I just got kicked in the balls.
Oh boy.
But, Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us for this episode. We definitely covered a bunch of different topics, but very happy that you're here to listen to us rant about everything. And we want to hear what you've got to say. Send us an email to justokmovies@gmail.com or send us a voicemail. You can go straight to justokmovies.com, scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, and you'll find our voicemail number there. Also, send us a tweet at justokmovies. And we will be back with another episode next week. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for listening. Take care.
Bye.